Welcome back to the SportsMax Zone. Tomorrow, Caymanas Park hosts the highly anticipated Mouttet Mile Invitational. 16 top-class horses, including 6 international powerhouses, vie for the US $250,000 purse. The foreign contenders vying for glory are Legacy Isle, Tistock, Pack Plays, Barnaby, Sheer Delight, and Commandant. These foreign imports boast impressive resumes and are expected to dominate. Now, they'll be up against local powerhouse thoroughbreds, including 2-time Horse of the Year Atomica, Further and Beyond, 2 Horse of the Year quality horses, and Banadura. And we will be talking in a short while to Pete Aiello, top Gulfstream Park race commentator, who unfortunately won't be here to help Brian Spuddy Rickman with a race call, but he'll be watching from a distance, and we would like to get his thoughts on the event. But we had Michael Caine yesterday looking ahead to the event. He concluded that Desert of Malibu, who is the 3-1 morning line favorite, is justifiably the top choice. But he did suggest that it's a wide open event. And while he gives Desert of Malibu the edge, there are other unknown quantities in the field that we've got to respect.
Yeah, this is the third running of the Mouttet Mile, and I have to say, in my time covering it, this is the most open that any of the Mouttet Mile has been. Previously, we could have narrowed down to at least 2 or 3 horses that were tipped to be favorites, and of course, based on conditions on the day, based on how the horse would have settled and stuff in Jamaica, they would have gone on to get an advantage. This time, and I am really a bit nervous because I like to test myself and pick a horse and bet and everything based on form and how they've been in exercise and all of that. But this year it's very, very difficult. So I plan this afternoon when I go home to prep for tomorrow to really take a close look and see if my spidey senses can help me, or my horsey senses can help me select a horse for tomorrow. But yeah, Lance, a lot of the horses, they look good.
Yes.
I have to say, I'm tipping closer to the US bred horses in particular. They've looked really good, and based on what I've heard is that they have actually settled in Jamaica fine, because that's one of the things that we always think about. The quarantine period in Jamaica takes some time. Some of the horses don't settle well and all of that. But I was talking to Spencer Chung, at the draw, which was Tuesday at the Rock Hotel, and he was saying, the race is really ran on the day, and that's the truth. So a horse can be so prepared, and then one thing on race day can affect them, trigger them, and then the race goes haywire. So all that to say is, as much as I think there are 6 favorites for tomorrow, I'm looking to see which one of the local horses can really put up a good showing. I want a local horse to win. I know I may not get that. I never really get everything that I want, but just for the local horses in Jamaica, I want that.
Yeah, well, one of the things that we've got to look at for the event, as you just mentioned, horses settling and traveling and being shipped, the 2 Rowan Crichton horses, top Jamaica-born, Florida-based trainer. He's been a top 4 trainer in the Florida Gulfstream Park standings for the past 2 seasons, and a regular top 10 over the past couple of years. He won last year's renewal with Rough Entry. His 2 horses coming here, Legacy Isle and Commandant, traveled fine, but there are reports that they got a little bit bruised in the trailer. They had a few bruises, but apparently they weren't serious bruises, and they should be okay. There's the feeling that whatever happened to them on the shipping process wasn't detrimental to their chances. Now, I know if this was a human race, Ricardo Chambers would have had a lot more to say about this, because he's not so much into the four-leg horses. But the race will be run at 4:40 local time tomorrow. That's 5:40 Eastern Caribbean time. Our coverage starts at 3:30 Jamaica time, which is 4:30 Eastern Caribbean time.
I was told we have to be there to do a lot of work from early, Lance.
The broadcast starts at 3:30 Jamaica time.
But I will be working from 7 a.m.
Well, that's good for you. So
you see how he behaves?
Yes. Now, I wanted to find out from Ricardo, because he suggested on the show yesterday that he'll be watching. So you would have taken note of the start time.
Of course I did. So are you asking me the start time that you just told everybody?
No, I'm just saying that the start time is important to you because you are committed to watching.
Oh, yes, I am. But we're also in the age now where you can go back and rewatch stuff.
So you plan to rewatch?
I'm not overly concerned necessarily about the start time, even though I'll admit that when it comes on to live sport, it's the sort of thing that you want to be able to see in real time. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. One of the things I've always enjoyed is great rivalries. Or extremely competitive fields. So, I love my track and field. I don't like runaway winners in track and field or in anything really. Because I think it is so much better when you have this massive build-up and you have 2 or 3 or even more individuals who have opportunities to win, in this case, horses who have opportunities to win. So I think because of that, because of the competitive nature of this field, and because this is a betting sport as well, it is better for betting. It is better for the organizers because you get more of the betting public involved now, and you will have a spread, I suppose, unlike last year where it was pretty obvious which horse would win.
One of the things as well, Ricardo, in this particular Mouttet Mile is the purse, right? So it's the richest horse race event in the Caribbean. And for us, it's something that everybody is tuned into because, I mean, winning is lucrative, right, when it comes to horse racing. So because of that, it draws a lot of attraction. And we had Acacia, Clement, Naira, Fox Sports, everybody's getting involved. So it just speaks to the luxurious aspect of this particular horse race. It's not like one of those regular horse races where, you tune in and you bet, but there's just a little bit of money on the line. It's a lot of money. So you know how Caymanas Park is going to be lanced. And one of the things for the viewers who have never really tuned into one of the Mouttet Mile is, apart from the top class horse racing and the first class competitors, because it's the best competing against the best, right? There is a lot of other aspects to the Mouttet Mile. One, it always has a theme. So as I said, last year's theme was the kings and the queens. This year, it's Wild Wild West. So, people come out and they look amazing. A lot of them, come out to interact with other people, to catch up with those from the horse racing fraternity. And the Mouttet family, a Trinidadian family, they're always present as well, Lance,
well, they'll put up the big cash.
Correct. And I think all of that just adds to the atmosphere of what this event is. It's something that I would say personally a lot of people look forward to at the end of the year.
Yeah, $250,000 is a massive purse. For decades, the Barbados Gold Cup, which was previously the Cockspur Gold Cup, then transitioned to the Sandy Lane Gold Cup, was the only $100,000 race in CARICOM racing. And the Diamond Mile back in 2016, I think, topped that with, I think, 115,000 US. And then the Mouttet Mile last year was 150,000 US dollars. Now, that was a record, and we were all, amazed at this big US $150,000 purse for a CARICOM horse race. No, the Mouttet family makes it $250,000.
And they wanted to do it from last year. Remember when we had Solomon on the show?
He said, let's take this in increments. I want to say that there's some Caribbean interest in the race as well, because Tizstock, the one horse who will run in the one box, is owned by the Trinidadian Shivan Maharaj, who previously owned Supreme Soul, who was the 2019 Triple Crown winner.
Yes.
He owned other horses as well, Calculus winning the Derby. So Shivan Maharaj's Tizstock is in there from the Anthony Nunes barn. And there's a Guyanese owner who is based in the USA, Jeremy Ratchfall. He has a US-bred entry here, Sheer Delight, in the field as well. Not as highly fancied as Tizstock, because I think Sheer Delight is at about 30-1. Tizstock is one of the top entries in the race at about 3-1. So there is Caribbean interest in the race. So the Guyanese and the Trinbagonians will be tuned in to see if their men will be able to score here. Peter Yalo now joins us via Zoom. We had him in the studio here last year. It was really great having him. Pete has seen a lot of these horses, because some of the horses running in the Mouttet Mile tomorrow have run at Gulfstream Park before and have won at Gulfstream Park, where Pete is the ace caller. Pete, who do you like from there?
Well, first of all, I wish I was in the studio with you guys right now. I feel like I really should be, but I have duties here in South Florida to attend to. But one of these days, I'll be invading the Mouttet Mile, and glad to be with you guys. Always a pleasure to speak to you.
Yeah, so I was asking, I know that you have commentary there at Gulfstream Park, and the championship season has already started. I think we're in the second week there, so this is big-time racing at Gulfstream Park. But Pete, some of the entries there in the Mouttet Mile, horses who have won at Gulfstream Park, including, I think, Legacy Isle, one of the top entries from Rowan Crichton's barn, and Crichton, one of the top trainers at the moment at Gulfstream Park. Who do you fancy in this race? I remember last year when you were here, you spoke very highly of Desert of Malibu, a horse that you liked. Do you still like that horse? And do you think Desert of Malibu will win?
Well, until they did the post draw, if I had come on here earlier in the week, that's probably what I would have said, because she's my girl. I mean, she's definitely my favorite horse based in Jamaica. But here's the reality of the situation, guys. I mean, rough entry for Team Gulfstream, and Rowan Crichton won this race last year. I don't think there's any debate at all, at least in the North American side of things, that Legacy Isle and Commandant, certainly Legacy Isle, but I would also argue Commandant, are better racehorses than Rough Entry is. So when you look at the U.S. influence on this race, they're really upping the ammo, so to speak. They're bringing in some heavy artillery for the race. But on the positive side, as far as them being good racehorses, they've had a very rough transition to life on the island, from what I understand.
Yeah.
They had to go through the quarantine, and then there was an issue on the trailer getting to the racetrack. So there's some chinks in the armor there. And I like what Baba Nunez has done with the another North American-based horse in Barnaby. Now, if you look at Barnaby's races in the U.S. versus Legacy Isle and Commandant, you'd laugh me out of the building. But here's the thing. He's gone to the island, and he's already raced at Caymanas Park, and he was a very impressive winner. And here's the other thing that I really can't figure out, and if somebody could figure it out for me, Lance, if you can figure this out for me, let me know so I can bet accordingly. This pace is going to be lightning. And Desert of Malibu drew all the way to the inside of all the other speeds, and I don't like that. I wanted her outside so she could take a tracking trip and relax. I think that the winner will come from off the speed, and if I'm right about that, it could very well be Barnaby, as he finished up really, really well while making his island debut.
Yeah, we had a chat with Baba Nunes, Pete, and he's very, very satisfied with his two horses as they get ready for this event. And you are right. I think the pace of this race is going to be very, very hot. And a lot of fans of two-time Horse of the Year, Atomica, are worried about that, because Atomica tends to be at her best when things are fiery up front. If she can't relax and run a measured pace, things become a bit difficult for her. But there's already talk that we could have like a 1:34 clocking for a mile at Caymanas Park, which we haven't seen anything like that in decades, really. And the track is in good condition. Chairman of SVREL, Solomon Sharp, is boasting about the current conditions of the track, and there is a discussion going on now about how fast this race could actually be.
Yeah, and I mean, just looking at the quality of the field this year versus last year, and there's just so much North American influence this year, guys. I mean, on top of the horses who directly ship from Gulfstream and Legacy Isle and Commandant, Wall Street Trader used to be at Gulfstream. Sheer Delight used to be at Gulfstream. Desert of Malibu, rather, was based in Florida before she came to Jamaica. We have Joe Trejos, who rides at Gulfstream. We have Kevin Krieger, who used to ride at Gulfstream. We have Misael Jaramillo, who's invading from Gulfstream. I mean, there's just so many North American storylines coming forward. And you guys already talked about, I heard you before you brought me in, talk about the Caribbean storylines. I mean, if this isn't an international event, I don't know what is.
Yeah, and you just mentioned Kevin Krieger. He's on a Caribbean trip as well here, Pete, because he rode in Barbados last weekend and won one of the main events on the card, the Pick 3 Mega Bowl, a part of a Jockey's Challenge, and he won with a horse called Paper Trail. I think it was the first time he was riding in Barbados, first time now riding in Jamaica. We know Kevin Krieger had ridden in the 2013 Kentucky Derby. So the quality of jockeyship is also turned up here. Misael Jaramillo, who rides Legacy Isle, won at Gulfstream Park yesterday, I think. So these jockeys are in the mood for winning.
Well, and here's the thing for maybe some fans who don't know about Misael Jaramillo. First of all, he's going Sunday to ride in the Caribbean Classic Series with some of the other top riders. Yes. But he is an absolute legend in Venezuela. There is nobody in sports culture who has a bigger following than Misael Jaramillo in Venezuela. And I would argue, now maybe I'm biased because I get to see him ride each and every day, there is nobody on planet Earth, and I do mean planet Earth, not just North America, better at rationing a speed horse than Misael Jaramillo. So if there's any other riders listening to me, you do not want to let Legacy Isle get a lonely lead or let Jaramillo get relaxed outside, because if you do that, you're up for an uphill climb the rest of the way.
Yeah, very significant what you just said about Jaramillo and how popular he is in Venezuela. Isn't Javier Castellano originally from Venezuela?
Yes, he is. But Javi came over and kind of made his career. He started with us in South Florida at Calder and Hialeah and Gulfstream.
So Venezuelans may not feel as connected to him as they do with.
Right.
Yeah, I get that.
Jaramillo was the icon of Venezuela, and I would liken it to, and this is actually a very good comparison. It would be like the equivalent of Trevor Simpson coming to the North American side, or Anthony Thomas coming to the North American side, or more recently Dane Dawkins and Dean Nelson coming to the Canadian side of the pond. They were already established champion jockeys in Jamaica before they came to the North American side of things. That was how Jaramillo was. He was a legend in Venezuela, and nobody knew if he could hang with the top guys, and he's proven that he definitely can.
I get you. And as we talk about jockeys, some misfortune for Paco Lopez, who had been scheduled to ride would have been Commandant, I think, but he's on a suspension and won't be able to make the trip?
No, I mean, self-inflicted wounds. I mean, it doesn't need to be said that what he did was completely out of line. I think that everybody agrees with that. I think even he agrees with that at this point, but his emotions got the better of him, so he'll have to wait for another time before he gets to visit the beautiful island of Jamaica.
Yeah, for the benefit of our viewers, what triggered that suspension, Pete?
He rode a horse in Philadelphia on Tuesday. The horse was getting out with him the whole way down the lane, and when they got past the wire, he gave the horse a crack on the face with the whip after the wire, which was just a lashing out in frustration. But there's no call for that anywhere, and they took swift action here, and glad to see the Jamaica Racing Commission be reciprocal with the suspension. So. He won't be there.
Yeah, it would have been great to see Paco Lopez riding, because we know of his quality, and he would add to the cluster of good riders that will be on show at the Mouttet Mile. So before we wrap, Pete, just to confirm, I know Desert of Malibu is your favorite horse in Jamaica at the moment, but you conceded a couple of minutes ago that you think Legacy Island Commandant, based on quality, may be preferred here.
Yeah, I think so. But I mean, at the same time, they have chinks in their armor with, Rohan said that he's not worried about their fitness level, and he's a world-class trainer. He's proven that. So I'm not going to second guess him. But at the same time, if there are issues, and those two horses will take a lot of betting attention. I mean, at the end of the day, as much as a great race that it is, we're going to all be gambling on this race, myself included. So I'm going to look for some value, and I think the value has to be in the corner of a horse like Barnaby, who, Lance, I'm interested to see how this preparation works, because I think this could be a great roadmap for other North American interests to understand how to win the Mouttet Mile if Baba Nunez and Barnaby can get the victory, which is, come down to the island a month or two early, get acclimated, and then bring your fastball, so you don't have to worry about the quarantine situation.
Yeah, and to wrap, we know that the Cigar Mile is being run on the weekend as well, but there aren't many $250,000 races being run in this hemisphere on Saturday.
Yeah, there isn't. I mean, and that's one of the great things, and I'm so excited, and I'm happy for my brethren in Jamaica, and Solomon and Chris and Ariel and the team for getting to such a great field, and then getting it on national television in the U.S. with the America's Day at the Races broadcast from Naira. So, I mean, it's, all eyes are going to be on Jamaica, and we've had so much goodwill from the U.S. to Jamaica this year. We brought Edgar Zayas down, Raylu Gutierrez came down in the spring. Now you have Misael Jaramillo. So, Jamaica is really gaining a ton of goodwill each and every time they put on one of these big events. And I'm just looking forward to being part of it as a fan, and hopefully getting to be part of it in some capacity going forward. I wish everybody at SVREL a great day, and I hope everybody that's watching this broadcast enjoys the race and takes advantage of what is a heck of a horse race.
Thank you very much, Peter Aiello. Thanks for talking to us here on the show, and we always have pleasure inviting you to our show here. So we'll talk again soon. Maybe I'll give you a shout tomorrow night when the race is over, and we can do a recap. Thanks, Pete.
Always a pleasure, Lance. Have a great evening.
Okay, that's Peter Aiello, top race caller at Gulfstream in Florida, and accepts that this is a pretty wide open Mouttet Mile, Legacy Isle, and Desert of Malibu based on the morning line betting, the top 2 horses, but the chances extend way beyond these 2 for sure. And as we said earlier, it will be live on SportsMax on Saturday afternoon. You can tune into that. Back with more on the SportsMax Zone. I think Mariah is up with the second set of zone updates after this.